First of all, I want to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of our masters that I had this opportunity to present this class on the, well, originally it was 3 distinctions and okay, let me move this guy again. Okay. Yeah, and the 4 proper conducts. And then now it's going to be part of the 3 introspections and 4 don'ts or taboos. Okay. And when I looked at the first, topic, the 3 extensions, I found out, oh, okay, it's possible that it'll take an hour, but then I found out that I sort of like ran over an hour. And then when I was happened to be, what's it called? Looking at the 3 distinctions and 4 don'ts or taboos, basically I said, gosh, there's not much to say. So therefore, I found out that I should have first separated into 2 classes, and basically just have a part 1 and part 2, and then basically it talks about all the distinctions and all. And introspections, distinctions, introspections, as well as the proper conduct, as well as the 4 don'ts. The 4 don'ts is sort of like the opposite of, like what the proper conduct should be, we should have, or we should do. Okay. And then, so, in this presentation, basically, I'm just going to go review a little bit of what the 4 proper conducts had basically done, had already listed, and basically just to sort of like, I don't know, go into a little bit more about what those constants are, as well as the virtues, as well as the relationships. Okay, and I touched a little bit on it because I was rushed on that part, and so therefore I may not have done a good job about discussing these aspects. Okay, and so therefore, because when I looked at the second topic that I was going to do, which is the introspections and the 4 taboos, I realized that, oh, wow, gee, it's really not much to say about it. But I can, again, try to, I guess, try to, I don't know, give a little bit example, and then maybe also, and then we can do the conclusions, because after all, in the conclusion, basically, the Holy Teacher mentioned about the 3 introspections, but also he also mentions the fact that he also has, 3 new I'll call it 3 new introspections that he has, and also the the 4 don'ts. Okay, so basically, when if I want to talk about the 3 introspections, okay, basically it has to do with the fact that it was the introspections, I think, was where the disciple Zhenzi, which is one of the major disciples of Confucius, basically he had mentioned those 3 things, and the thing that the text that he the things that he had said was mentioned in the, I believe it's the Analects. Okay, first or second chapter. Yeah, some of them. Okay, anyway, so therefore, basically, it's sort of like talking about what he thinks about daily. Okay, and so therefore, it's sort of like it's related. I'll call it just, it's related to the fact that we have these 4 proper related to 4 proper conducts, because after all, there's a saying in the, I believe it's in the Tao. Basically, it just says, in order for one to really cultivate the Tao or the truth, okay, one must first start with the Tao of humanity. Okay, it's basically saying that in order to in Chinese, basically it says, in order to shoot out first, you have to first go into first the Len Dao aspects. Okay, and so therefore, these Lindao aspects, or the stuff that a lot of stuff that the Confucius had mentioned about, is basically what we even in the Tao we learn about it, and basically that's the things that we want to know about in order to really understand how to cultivate the Tao. Because after all, it is through first knowing about these things, like whether it's the five constant virtues, or the five constants, and the eight virtues, and the oh my gosh, okay, and the five relationships, basically it sort of like allows us to really have a foundation in order to really be able to cultivate the Tao. Okay, the Tao itself. Okay, now of course, many people, well, in the very beginning of the class, not the class, of the previous class, I mentioned about, that, when basically, let me go back just to go at the beginning. Okay, basically, I mentioned about something about the what the South Pole of longevity had mentioned, and basically he just says the fact that in this the fact that we need to learn everything one step at a time, and whether you're in temple or not, basically you need to have these clear distinctions. In this case, he's talking about clear distinctions and proper conducts, and basically it sort of like addresses what the introduction has said, the fact that the I don't want to say the virtues, but also the concept, the moral concepts or moral principles that we uphold in the style, basically is something that has been, I guess, in decline, so to speak. Okay, and I mean, after all, people have, people basically have, is living longer because of the health, because of the health aspects, and so therefore we have become maybe even grown physically. Okay, and so therefore the problem is that we need to also basically uphold the spiritual aspects. Okay, just like the first Dharma class vow that you had done. Okay, which is to emphasize the spiritual instead of the mundane, etc. Okay, so therefore it is something that in this society, well, I'll call it in this society right now, in this society today, let's put it that way. Not every society is different. I mean, every society can be different, but some are, less, up to date, so to speak, or some not. The point of fact is that we need to really begin to understand that even though we are physically okay, we still need to also think about our, I guess, I'll call it mental aspects, okay, or spiritual aspects. Okay, so therefore, it's important that we need to also, again, go back to what I had mentioned about these five constant virtues. Five constants, excuse me, it's called five constants, but it's called five constant virtues. That's true. And also there's the eight virtues, which is the they call it the eight cardinal virtues. Okay, because that's all they gave them eight. I mean, they gave it eight of them, and also the five relationships. Okay, so to cover these basically a little bit more in details, basically first, there are the reason why it's called constant virtues is only because every person, human, okay, has these virtues. Okay, and it could be, it depends upon your own past lives or whatever, that you may have different levels of these virtues. Okay, and where one virtue is emphasized and the other is not, etc. Okay, so therefore, we need to understand what these virtues are. So the important thing is, okay, the first one, of course, is called benevolence. Basically, it's something that manifests, you know, in your mind, basically, you know, whether it's in love, in compassion, kindness for all sentient beings. The important thing is the fact it is for all sentient beings. So therefore, it's not just humans, for example, okay? Because after all, sentient beings describes anything that has what is living and also has, because after all, has different levels of these virtues. And whether you're an animal or, because let's give an example. When you know, when you talk about a dog, okay, and a cat, let's compare a dog and a cat. What do you notice about a dog itself? Normally, and generally, I'll put it this way. Generally, it's what? Loyalty for that, you know, the person that's, you know, giving it food, etc., whatever, okay, to feeding it, etc. Okay, and so therefore, you have a sense of loyalty, or what is called, it's I guess part of it's trust, part of it's I guess you could say maybe maybe justice a little bit. Okay, the whole idea is the fact that he knows, or he or she, depending on the dog, okay, male or female, basically is understand, or not, understands a little bit, if I'll call it, you know, what do you call it, understand? Basically, they understand what is proper or not about, you know, the fact that, you know, the human is caring for that person, for that dog or cat. Okay, and then when you look at a cat, what do you know about the cat itself? People generally calls it, it's very independent, so to speak. Okay, and you know, he wants to do his own thing, etc. I mean, basically, you know, dogs and cats can still be very friendly. That's okay. The whole idea is the fact that, you know, the when you compare it to the dog, basically the sense of loyalty from a cat's point of view, it's not really that strong. Okay, so the whole idea is the fact that, you know, we have these constant virtues, but particularly in whether it's in animals or lesser, you know, lesser lesser, not sentient beings, but rather lesser degree of the sentient beings. Basically, they have varying different results about these constant virtues. Okay, so that's for number one. And then, of course, the sense of righteousness is basically just part about our integrity, the way we conduct ourselves, which we sort of like have a fundamental way of no, because like there's a Western society, they call what's called they call it a moral compass. You know, the way how you conduct yourself will be judged upon how you think about, or how you relate yourself to that moral compass, and basically it's sort of like saying, you know, what we should do, which is right or wrong, etc. Okay, and so therefore that will then, you know, basically allow us to be able to conduct ourselves in sort of like the right way. Okay, there's another saying in Western society, basically says, oh, you know, what you should do. I mean, what is the right thing to do? Okay, so basically, it's one way of saying it's like the right and wrong. It's basically you have to know what you should, what you have to do should be the right thing to, you know, the right thing, that, or the right way, or so to speak. Okay, all right, and then of course the third aspect is propriety. Propriety is basically just basically it's etiquette, so to speak. Okay, and as you know, as you know, cultivators, of course, we have a little bit more propriety aspects, you know, because of the aspects of the Tao that has the bowing and the way we conduct ourselves within within our superiors or juniors. Okay, and so therefore, you know, so that sort of like is related to, you know, all these things, which is the 5 constants, the 8 cardinal virtues, the 5 relationships, same thing. Okay, and then of course, wisdom. Wisdom is more like he describes it as innate awareness, what one judges, which is right and wrong. Okay, same thing as the righteousness aspect. Okay, and when we talk about wisdom, true wisdom, okay, or the wisdom in general, it's basically sometimes it's just you also have like humans have wisdom itself. Okay, but whether it's really the Buddha nature wisdom or not is different. It sort of can be, if people doesn't know about this Buddha nature, okay, so therefore they may think of that, oh, our consciousness or whatever can provide us wisdom based on our experiences, our life experiences, our what we had done in the past, blah blah blah, and so therefore we sort of like connote that as wisdom. But if we really want to talk about wisdom, it's really talking about the Buddha wisdom that we have, or the Buddha nature wisdom that we have. And so therefore, in that case, yes, it is true that we don't necessarily are aware of the fact that we have a Buddha nature wisdom, but the whole idea is the fact that you need to, I guess I'll just call it develop it. Okay. And so therefore, it is something that we need to learn how to do. Okay, so therefore these are that is number 4 on the list of 5 constant virtues. Okay, and then 5, of course, is just trust or faith or sincerity, etc. Okay, and basically, I mean, when Confucius looked at it, he sort of like said it as like he calls it he calls it as it is the center of all 4 virtues. That's the virtues that's from benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom. Okay, and basically he sort of like calls it the center. Okay, and it is described as like confidence also, but because after all, it is through this faith, I guess I'll call it. Okay, what he calls it as faith is because of the fact that if you need to have the confidence or the ability to be able to um, uh, uh, have these foundations that we have, the first 4, okay, then you need to sort of like have I'll call it again the faith that you need. I mean, that you must have to be able to essentially understand that yes, this is part of our human condition. Okay, and so therefore, it's important that we, I guess, are grounded very, very much like what we say in the center. Okay, and so and then therefore you sort of like expand or like have these 4 things that aspects. That's the 4 virtues. Okay, the 4 constant virtues. Okay, that's the benevolence, righteousness, providing wisdom aspect to be able to manifest itself, from this physical body. Okay, geez. Okay, and then of course we have to talk. We then sort of like delve more directly into specific aspect. I'll call it specific aspects of these virtues. Okay, and they sort of like referred or Confucius refers it as the 8 cardinal virtues. Okay, and I mentioned the fact that when you like in filial piety class that we talked about the fact that the filial piety is the foremost of all the virtues that we have. Okay, and so therefore, because after all, the way we, I guess, not present ourselves, but the way we yeah, I guess you can say present ourselves in terms of filial piety is to our parents is equivalent to the way we sort of like give filial piety to God. Okay, and so therefore, because after all, technically we are all children of God, or the souls of God, so to speak. Okay, as individuals, and so therefore we must be able to respect or love, if you will, our Heavenly Mother. Okay. And then the second aspect is the brotherhood. Basically, just siblings. Yeah, I'll call it sibling. Yeah, it's siblings. Yeah, sibling harmony, brotherly love, and basically, it's sort of like to be able to know um, how one would treat our own with his brothers and sisters. Okay, and with his respect or to help them, etc. Okay, so these are all the things that is part of the eight cardinal virtues, and basically brotherhood is sort of like filial piety and brotherhood are both I guess you could say related to the family. Okay, whether you have brothers and sisters or not. Okay, and so therefore the 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 next three basically excuse me, the next six, yeah, next 3 to 6 basically it's only talking about aspects of the if you will, the whether it's the brotherhood or the filial piety aspect. Okay, so number 3 is basically loyalty. Okay, and loyalty is basically just means the fact that yes, you have commitment, dedication, loyalty to not only everyone but also members of the family, and also to be able, and also to have the trust. I guess also loyalty and trust to have in friends or everybody you interact with. Okay, and then number 4 is basically just trustworthiness. Okay, or basically sincerity and honesty. Okay, so this number 3 to number 8 basically it's all the conduct that we express when we are dealing with its family members, society, etc. Okay. So number 4 is trustworthiness. Okay, honestly, basically it's just the way we conduct ourselves in terms of specifically speech and actions. Okay, because after all, they don't talk about how you're thinking, but just basically in terms of uh, uh, um, uh, the way how we present ourselves to society. Okay, with this and family, it should be have sincerity. Okay, honest. I'll call it honestly. Also, okay, honesty. Honesty. Same thing. Okay, so therefore, we need to be able to cultivate the fact that we need to, you know, be trustworthy or sincere, okay, in terms of especially what we say and what we do. Okay, uh, whether you just sort of like say something to say, oh, okay, I make a promise, same thing. Okay, but in order to, once you make the promise, of course, you essentially need to act upon it. So therefore, it is basically both speech and conduct. Okay, and then 5 to 8 basically is okay. So number 5 is basically propriety. That's just etiquette, proper etiquette, etc. Okay, and so therefore, or let me go back. Okay, 3 to 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Okay, so 5 basically is how we conduct ourselves in terms of actions. Okay, and of course, it can also be it can also include speech. Okay, because after all, the way we like whether it's simple smile, so to speak. Okay, or the way we so like do things, okay, basically it must be done in such a manner that is what we call propriety. Okay. All right. And then number 6 is just righteousness. Okay. Just it basically it's like right and wrong. Okay. Now there's an aspect of it on righteousness that basically talks about duties and obligation, but it also says what? Courage to do what is right. Okay. That's a very I think Confucius had mentioned 3 things. I believe it was courage, magnanimous, probably magnanimous, and the third one is something about dedication, but I'm not sure. Okay, so basically, the idea of the fact that we have a sense of right and wrong, that's sort of like the one in the second of the 5 lasting constant virtues, basically the sense of justice. Okay, so therefore, in righteousness, you need to sort of like be able to know what is it's equivalent to saying like what is the right thing to do, okay, or you know what is the right thing to do based on your moral compass, etc. Okay, and so therefore it's important that you have to do your duties in terms of what is right. Okay, well, it says without hesitation, but it's not, because that the fact that if you want to do something and basically it is the right thing to do, so to speak, then yeah, you do it with, you can say without hesitation, but the fact that, whether it has any rewards or not attached to it, it doesn't really matter. Okay. And also it depends upon, depending upon, what type of things you are doing, basically, whether it's not a consideration of whether it's difficult or not, or easy. Okay. And then, of course, 7 is modestly, basically just a sense of honor. Okay. Okay, it says a person of high morals is greatly respected. The foundation of honor is frugality and having a bright, open heart. Okay, so it basically means the fact that, yes, if you have a sense of, also it's related to confidence. Okay, that's the last part of the faith aspect. Okay, of the 5 constant virtues, and it's and basically means the fact that, yes, when you have this sense of integrity, what you're doing is, whether based on what the 5 constant virtues, is also the 8 virtues, based like the righteousness aspect, the propriety aspect, etc. So therefore, this way you'll be able to perform these actions, so to speak, okay, without having any, I guess you could say, any afterthoughts. I'll call it afterthoughts, or doubts about what you're doing. Okay, and then of course the fourth, the last part is basically the sense of shame. Okay, yeah, the sense of shame is very, I guess you could say, relevant in these days, because after all, it is, the way we've done things in society today. We've done many things, and so therefore, some of the things are, when you, especially when you read the news and all that stuff, basically, you sort of like wonder to yourself, because, wow, I mean, how can they do that? That's the first question. And and basically, in order to do that, of course, you can, you sort of like begin to be aware of the fact that, hey, in today's society, many people are more scheming to, what, in terms of what they do or think and say. And so therefore, it's possible the fact that, when you talk about the sense of shame, or the ability to know the fact that, yes, because you've done something wrong, therefore, yes, you should be ashamed about it. And so therefore, it's important the fact that you try to avoid doing something about it. So actually, the whole idea of the, as the description says, knowledge of shame is understanding what actions are non-virtuous and not doing them. Okay, so therefore, the whole idea of the sense of shame is to have an understanding that fact that, hey, when we do something that's incorrect or wrong, etc. Okay, then we have we know the fact that yes, it is something that we should what? Number one, first of all, forgive yourself or and not to do it again. Okay, so all right, and then basically it's related to the 5 relationships, which is after all, the first three relationships talk about the family. Okay, and then well, not the first three, the second and fourth talks about the 2, 3, and 4 talks about the family itself, and then of course the first and fifth is basically talk about society as a whole. Okay, so when we look at the 5 relationship, everyone is aware of that, and I mean, we feel it, so to speak, and so therefore everybody who is, I guess, a human, so to speak, can, whether it's human or animals, I believe, yeah, it's sort of like it's equivalent. Okay, it's sort of like equivalent. Okay, so therefore, everyone has a role to play, I guess I'll call it that, a role to play in based on what we are in these 5 relationships, and also therefore that will dictate what how we think, say, and do when we're talking, when we relate themselves to these 5 constant virtues, as well as the 5 cardinal virtues. Okay, 8 cardinal virtues. Okay, sorry. Okay, so therefore that gets back to now. I mean, comes down to is what the introspections are. Okay, basically it's a it was stated in I think in Analects about the fact that a disciple, I believe it's a senior disciple of Confucius, basically he had mentioned the fact that, when I so like do I'll call it 3 introspections. Basically, he have to say, okay, I mean, he says, okay, every day I ask or remind myself 3 things or matters. 1, in my consultation with friends or interaction with others, I'll call it that, have I been honest or sincere? Number 2, in associating with friends, have I been trusting? Okay, or they're basically just talking about outside within society. Okay, and then 3 is among friends and family. What is friends and family? Have I been passing on or practicing what I've been taught, that I was sort of told about or taught about what I had to say or to do. Okay, so basically these 3 things are essentially relate to, number 1, consultation with others, okay, whether it be family members or society itself. Okay, basically you should be honest with whoever that you're dealing with. Okay, and then same thing with whether it's in friends or family. Basically, you should be also be sincere or trusting in terms of what you say or do will be, that people can believe you what you say. Because after all, in the old days, we had said that just when we make a promise or whatever, we sort of like shake hands on it, so to speak. A person, 2 persons shake their hands on it. Basically, that means the fact that it's definitely things that they will, what they have said and do will be same. Okay, all right, and then. So the third one is basically passing on or practicing what I had been taught. Okay, so that's a little bit more sort of like more about what you had learned from what was taught, whether it's in society through schools, okay, or your family even. Okay, same thing. That basically, it just means the fact that if you want to, I guess you could say, improve the lot of everyone else. Okay, basically means the fact that if you know something that if only you know it. Okay, assuming that you know it, only you know it, then of course you want to what? I guess the word is what? Betterment. Yeah, to be able to apply what you know to be able to so like create a better society, so to speak. And so therefore it is something that when you know something and you're practicing whatever you do, okay, then if you think about everybody else who does not know about it, then therefore it is something that you can pass on or do to be able to what? Create something better. Okay, so that's the whole idea of the third introspection. Okay, so these are the things that Zhenzi or the disciple basically constantly reminds themselves daily. Okay, so therefore it is important the fact that if you can do these three things, okay, basically it's sort of like reflection of how you think, what you say, and what you do that will help or not help, but also have others to be able to become sort of like it's something like a role model, so to speak, to be able to let them be sort of like or let them learn about what you're or what you're doing or saying, etc. And so therefore this way they can also improve themselves. Okay. And then, of course, the last thing is really the four don'ts. Okay, the four don'ts is really kind of, I don't know, basic, so to speak. I'll just, on the bottom of it, basically, I just said, basically, it's see no evil, listen to no evil, say no evil, and do no evil. Oh wait, my evil is not pronounced correct. I mean, my evil is written incorrectly. Okay, I gotta correct that. Okay, all right. So basically, it just means fact that gosh, EVI. Geez. Okay. Anyway, so therefore, it's basically is I mean, if you want to talk about the four don'ts, I sort of like said it a little bit more. I don't know, succinctly. Okay, first, do not regard or see what is invisibility. Okay, so that means that it's sort of like something that it's basically improper. Okay, and then same thing with the listening, same thing with the saying, and same thing to the doing. Okay, so therefore, whatever that is basically improper or not, I don't know, whether it's relevant, etc., blah, blah, blah. Okay, these are the things that you want to avoid to do. Okay, whether it's see things, when we, in this colorful world, so to speak. Okay, a flowering world. Basically, it just means the fact that the fact that okay, first of all, it's based on our senses. Okay, whether we see, listen, okay, say, and do, okay, or action, etc., is everything that's based on our senses. And so therefore, it is, important that you know what is proper or not. Okay, it's like the what Buddha had mentioned about the no six oh gosh, I've got the six well, the Chinese is called bolo mi, but the English I forgot. I should have translated that. But it basically means the fact that one of the ways that you want to know what is the right, what is, I guess, proper, etc., is to be able to have proper thoughts or sight, I get no, not, yeah, I believe sight. Okay, to be able to know what it, so that this way you can differentiate what is not proper and proper. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, and so therefore, whether like, in terms of see regard, I don't know, if you see a, in the case of an engineer who sees in a great car, you're so like, you want to, have it or something. Same thing with listening about something. Okay, whether you begin to, have a lot of gossip around or something like that. Okay, so therefore it's something that, that's one of the four don'ts, to not listen. Okay, same thing like the scene, the first one. Okay, and then saying things again, replying to gossip, etc. Same thing. Okay, and then doing things. Well, doing things is basically saying the fact that, like these the the 8 virtues, the 8 cardinal virtues. The number 8 is what? The sense of shame. So therefore, when you do something, basically, it's important the fact that you also understand what is proper or and improper. So basically, it's sort of like the mindset that you're talking about. Okay, and so therefore, in conclusion, basically, the teacher has said the fact that, okay, we must publish on, natural virtue to profession, and basically talking about the three things, the three distinctions. Okay, what is right, as I mentioned earlier, about whether it's male and female, in terms of financial aspects, and also the three, the first of the three is basically the spiritual mundane, or worldly, spiritual or worldly. Okay. So basically these three things, okay, plus the four don'ts, I'm sorry, the four proper conducts, and then the three, three, I guess you could say the three introspections, as well as the four don'ts, basically uh, is something that we need to be able to cultivate ourselves, so that we can be able to sort of like do what I'll just call it what we can do to become I guess not an expert, but just because after all, it's hard to just become an expert for everything, but to be able to become like a role model, so that others can be able to emulate, or to be able to learn about what you are saying, thinking, or doing, etc. Okay. Now, uh, uh, I've also included a few things that Holy Teacher had also mentioned about. He talks about the fact that he has well, he calls it 3 new introspections and the 4 don'ts. Okay, I've translated as that. Okay, basically, these are 3 new introspections. Okay, and that's from the Holy Teacher standpoint. Okay, so once you become very cultivated, then maybe it's possible that you will also think about these things. Okay, first, daily examine what one's depth of virtue has improved, whether oneself or selfishness has decreased. So it's basically it's talking about the fact that, yes, it's equivalent to sort of like the first introspection from Zhenzi, okay, the disciple, but it's more like, you need to understand what are the proper things that you need to do. That's called the depth of virtue. Okay. And whether on a daily basis, has it improved or not? Are you still standing still, or have you done something to be able to improve that? Okay. And also the fact that you're talking about the fact that your selfishness has decreased. It's only because of the fact that when you're doing a constant, I guess, constant reflection about yourself, okay, then you sort of like it's equivalent like saying getting, to rid ourselves of the ego, okay, so to speak. All right. And then number 2 is basically say daily examination of whether your inspiration has grown or put them into practice. So therefore, it means the fact that, when you are inspired to do, or when you read something, whatever, and you get inspired, etc., then therefore it's possible, you may sort of like understand, oh, the more you know about it, so therefore the more you want to do something about it. And therefore the idea of putting things into practice is basically trying to become more like, whether it's a sage or Buddha, etc. Okay, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Okay, and then of course the third one is basically daily examine whether your wisdom is deep enough to nourish all living beings. Okay, and basically that it just means the fact that from his perspective, okay, nourishing all living things is basically all sentient beings. Okay, whether it's anything that's sentient. Okay, and so therefore whether you are able to understand what that person, I guess what that person, especially as a human, to be able to understand what they can do, I guess, to improve themselves. Okay, and also the wisdom, because after all, when we talk about wisdom, you're talking about like the Buddha nature wisdom. So therefore, he's talking about the fact that, I mean, from his standpoint, he is, he has this Buddha nature wisdom. So therefore, he can, understand the way we are, I guess you call it the human condition. Okay, and then the last thing, I mean, the 4 things is based, the 4 don'ts are what we talk about in terms of like Holy Teacher mentioned about when say good word. There's a part of the presentation before, the previous presentation talks about saying good words and also finding the good in others. Okay, so it's sort of like it's a little bit about that. Okay, do not forget your kindness because of our small grudges. Okay, it's the fact that, okay, the kindness itself is just to mean the fact that, yes, we should always be grateful. Okay, whether you're being reprimanded or, curse, I don't know, I don't want to say curse that, but the fact that, you're being reprimanded or reprimanded, reprimand, yeah, reprimand. Okay, or the fact that, whether you are, I don't know, being told what to do, etc. Okay, you have to always be grateful about what the what how you feel about, in terms of how you feel, because after all, you don't know your past, so to speak, past lives, whether, etc. And so therefore you need to have a I guess a feeling of gratitude about things that are that you get or received, etc. About the fact that you can sort of like, it's sort of like a way to be able to overcome all these things that are happening to you, so to speak. Okay, and then number 2 is basically don't follow your own will and refuse to accept the words of admonition. Okay, it's the same thing. It's number 1. It's similar to number 1. It's the fact that, when you don't have your ego or way to do things, or your own way to do things, basically, and also you sort of like refuse to have, listen to others about telling you how to do things, or how to do things, etc. Okay, it's equivalent to number 1. Okay, so it's sort of like saying the fact that, yeah, when you don't want to do these things, only because of the fact that it's important that you should listen to what others has to say. Okay, so basically it means the fact that you should listen more. Okay, that's sort of like the bottom line. Okay, and then 3rd is basically don't miss the opportunity by guessing heaven's will. Okay, that's a little bit more difficult. Okay, there's a word that's has the word crisis is translated or as something that's like something that you can find an opportunity when you have something that's bad happening. Okay, so basically, when you have something happen to you, okay, you first have to understand, you don't want to have to like, oh, I'm guessing, heaven's doing this because of blah, 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 blah. Okay, no, it's because of the fact that you have, it's like saying, what I said before, looking on the bright side of things is equivalent to like saying what I presented earlier about finding the good in others. Okay, it's equivalent to that. Okay, so therefore, there are opportunities that you can or heaven will give you. Okay, because of the fact that you how you determine the outcome of whatever's happening to you. Okay, so that I guess that's the best way to describe it. Okay, and then of course, level 4 basically is equivalent to sort of like the first vow that you made in the Dharma class. Don't be obsessed with sounds and colors because it won't, one can become confused and lost. Okay, and so therefore that's the whole idea of the first vow in the Dharma class, is to be able to differentiate between what is physical, so to speak, and what is spiritual. Okay, and so therefore I hope that everyone can get a little bit more understanding about these 3 introspections, the 3 I guess I'll call 3 distinctions. Okay, and then as well as the 4 proper conducts, as well as the 4 things that we don't want to do. Okay, if I send anything that's incorrect or incorrectly, I hope that the saints and Buddhists can forgive me, and also whether all the listeners, whether it's transmitters, lecturers, will be able to correct anything that's said incorrectly. Thank you very much.